July 31st, Nashville, Tennessee, as promised. Ric Flair will walk that aisle one more time.
First time that you did a collection of toys, just before it became a hobby, and then it's like, I'm a collector now.
Yeah, I mean, I was a kid growing up, that rock and wrestling era, the early 90s, the Attitude Era. I collected the toys. I played with the toys. I had a lot of the toys as a kid. And then, when you're in high school, it's not cool to be, eyeing toys, playing with toys. I still did it anyway. I was hiding it. I was, it was a secret thing that I did. It wasn't until I met Brian Myers in wrestling school where we realized, wait a minute, you collect wrestling figures too? And it broke the ice. And we just said, you know what? Fuck it. Like we can do whatever we want. We can collect our figures. We can display our figures. Like we're in the business. It's okay. And that was 2003. It's now, oh my God, almost 20 years later, where we'd be texting every day about figures or on the road going to vintage toy stores or Walmart or Target or Toys R Us when it was a thing and looking for figures. And eventually I said, Brian, let's try to do something with this. Let's start a podcast about wrestling figures. And that's how the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast was born, long story short. And like you said, there's people who find us on YouTube. We have so many different avenues. We have our own toy line, Major Bendy's, which, we made the Ric Flair figure that's available for StarCast, his last ever match. So we've done so much with just this podcast. It spawned into so much more.
I don't know if it's my natural jealousy, but you've got more views than me on the YouTube channel, so therefore I was really upset.
Hey, yeah. It's funny because a lot of people, they come to us at these signings or wrestling shows like, hey, we really love the YouTube channel. And I'm like, well, do you listen to the podcast? Like, no, you have a podcast? I'm like, the whole thing's based on the podcast. But it's cool. It's cool that we have fans. We try to bring people in any way possible.
I will. I'm going to maybe not to look at us because I look about 12. We're actually about give or take the same age. So I started wrestling in started watching wrestling in '93, and they were still the old Hasbro, the real stiff, short, Jody looking ones. And then somebody, must be about '98, presented me with this.
That's a bootleg. That's a very famous bootleg. It's called Mannix is the toy line.
Oh right, it's actually famous because I was like, not only have they done the, I'll do this for the main camera as well. I can't do that. Yeah. I've got like a product setting on this camera, but not only have they done the nipples on it, they've done the belly button as well. Yeah, that's a real nice touch.
Yeah, those are bootleg wrestling figures, but it's like there's a lot of bootleg wrestling figures over the years, but that particular set is quite famous, actually. It's not worth money, but it's cool. I have them.
Yeah, my childlike brain actually filled in. So for the camera, it says OGO and the thing. It first filled it in to say Hogan on it. Like I thought it said Hogan for years.
That's actually great.
and then I thought it must say NWO for years. So I was like, right. Oh, I think I just wanted it to be real so much.
Sure.
That I filled it in. Collecting again, I want to talk more about the collecting and keeping things in the packaging, looking for something that makes it special. What's something that's really special to you in wrestling figures or a wrestling collectible that you look out for?
The packaging, especially nowadays, has been incredible. Like, for instance, this past week at San Diego Comic-Con, Mattel released a no-holds-barred 2-pack where it was Hogan as Rip and Zeus, and it's in a VHS-style packaging. That's awesome. I don't collect things in the package. I open things up. I say, let them breathe, because I have too much stuff, and to display it properly, it needs to be opened. There's no way I could display everything in the package. Now, certain things I do keep in the package, so there's always an exception to every rule. But yeah, I like to rip them open. I'm not playing with them, but pose them, check them out, check out the back. Can't do that if it's in the package.
So do you practically never make a purchase for an investment?
I would say most of my stuff is for me. Of course, there is time where I do buy something. I'm like, I'm going to save this for a while. Or if I see something that should be going for more money, I'll buy it and resell it. But typically, if I'm buying something, it's for me and my personal collection.
Right. So this is just between us two. How much have you spent on one item? What's like the maximum amount you spent? And what was it on?
On one item. Well, off the top of my head, and I'm not I can't 100% say this is the most expensive one, but there's something those Hasbro figures you were talking about from the early 90s. There was a unreleased Kamala that had an alternate design on his stomach. It had a moon instead of a star, and it's very, very rare. And it's like this urban legend. There are a few out there. I spent $11,000 on it. Yeah.
Just on that one, you didn't let that one breathe, did you?
Absolutely not. That one stays in the package, baby. Yeah, that one stays in the box.
What's the holy grail? I know there's probably like a universal holy grail for collectors, but what's your personal holy grail that if if it came up for 50 grand, let's say, you'd seriously consider purchasing it?
Yeah, so especially like in that Hasbro era, the early 90s, a lot of stuff just didn't come out. Right. And we didn't know about it till years later. Sometime, for instance, there's a Toys R Us ad. I think it's like a 91 WF magazine that shows all the new tag teams and has like the Rockers, Demolition, the Bushwhackers, Rhythm and Blues, which is Honky Tonk Man and Greg the Hammer Valentine. And that particular Greg the Hammer Valentine never came out in stores. And as a kid, I didn't know that because there's no internet, there's no next WF magazine that says, hey kids, it's not coming out. So I'm searching for it. And for years, I think I just don't have it. Fast forward, I do have it now, the hand painted prototype from that ad. So that's currently like my number one piece in my collection. And I'm not even like a Greg the Hammer Valentine fan. Like, not that I'm not a fan. I'm just not like oh my God, he's my favorite. But I just needed that figure. So in that same vein, if there is an unreleased, there are certain guys that are rumored to come out. And one of those guys was Diesel, like the very, very end. If there's a hand-painted prototype of Diesel somewhere, that would be my holy grail. I have tracked down like the concept art for it, and I've tracked down like the head, like the unpainted head. So I know they got far enough. How far did they get? I don't know. I don't know if they ever got to a hand-painted prototype stage. Nobody knows. There's no picture online. But if that ever showed up, that'd be the one I'd go after hard.
Do you like try and find like ex-employees of Hasbro or
exactly
Jacks or whatever? So
yes.
you actually hunt these guys out who worked at the time?
Yeah, 100%. And it's not just me. Like, that's how you do this, because I don't want to say like don't go to eBay for this stuff, because of course you can. Like, sometimes things do pop up on eBay, but a lot of these prototype and unreleased sales are done like, I don't want to say the black market, but Facebook, or private text messaging or private message boards. So there's this whole underground community of prototype collectors.
I've seen some of the. Did you know that Netflix show I mentioned? I think they had a couple of prototypes on that wrestling one as well, which was dead fun to see. So when they say prototype, there is one. Is there always like one unique one, and that's it?
There could be like a couple, maybe 5 or so. There's no exact number. Some of them are used for commercials or magazines or for a toy fair. So there are a few, yeah, but they're meant to be destroyed. They're not meant to, be in someone's display case 30 years later.
I can't imagine anymore. Do you know what? I actually can. I know there's an old Jim Cornette story where he ended up getting a load of WCW like arena footage from the 70s because he stopped like the janitor. And he had like wheelbarrows of this stuff he was just throwing into the dumpster, and Cornette happened to be there. And he went, I'll take them off your hands. And now they're probably worth a load,
I bet they are, yeah.
Definitely. Right. From figures. Oh, by the way, this was the number one question. Figures or dolls?
Oh, figures. They're not dolls.
Dude, so easy for me to wind people up and say dolls. It's just like, a total trigger word.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't like bother me or get under my skin, but they're not dolls. They're action figures. 100%.